never met no one who talk like that. And if you hang up on a nigga, bitch, I call right back. Roll my windows up, dollar rolling windows up, biscuit ass niggas want.
Welcome to day 2 of my thrift flips. Today we're going to be turning this beautiful old nightgown into a 2-piece set. So first what I'm doing is just cutting the top off. I'm honestly just going to leave the top pretty much as is because it's gorgeous. All I'm really going to do is just cut it to the length that I want and then hem it at the bottom. So that's what I'm doing here, just pinning where I want to hem it, and then I'm going to come in with my sewing machine and make sure that everything looks all nice and pretty and the edges are all set to go. So that's all done. Now with the remaining fabric of the nightgown, I'm using a pair of shorts that I already own and fit me to trace the pattern that I want to use to create the bottoms. So once that's done, I'll go ahead and just snip, 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 cut, 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 snip, 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 snip on both sides so that I'll have the front and back legs of the pants. Then when I'm done with that, I'm lining them up, pinning them together so that they don't come apart. Then I'm pinning the crotch. Then I'm going through and sewing that on each side, and you're going to do this on both sides of the legs. Then once you're done, that's me in the crotch. Then you have to sew the crotch. How many times can I say crotch in this video? Crotch, crotch, crotch. I'm sewing the crotch together right now. So that's what I'm doing. I'm finishing the pants, the bottom part, and we're done. Not really. I still have to put in the waistband. So for the waistband, I'm just going to be folding the shorts over like an inch and then pinning that together, and now I'm going through and sewing that, leaving space to put in a little waistband string, which is what I'm cutting here out of the extra fabric that I had left over. And then this part made me want to off myself. I had to get the waistband string through the waistband. I just took a safety pin and just started dragging that through. This felt like it took years, but then it was finally done, and I'm so happy with how it came out. This is probably my favorite pajama set that I've ever put on my body. I'm obsessed. So stay tuned to see what I come up with tomorrow.
Thrift ripping these jeans that were too small. Untie this off skirt and pick a skirt. So this is how they fit as pants. Shorts. Shaw, shaw. I love the stitching on this pocket. R.I.P. Joanne's pinning. So. How am I supposed to wash this?
I have 2 hours to turn this thrifted skirt into a cute top. So I'm going to start by just hemming this one side for now. My plan is to have it open in the front and then this will wrap around. But first I'm going to measure my elastic for the top band. I'm just going to take my elastic and I'm going to decide how tight I want it. Okay, here's our progress update so far. So it's gonna have a little tie closure here at the top, but I also wanna do another band of elastic below the bust. And now I can sew and attach the straps to the top. So I think this turned out cute considering it only took me a little over an hour, but I don't know if the length is kind of awkward. I thought of cropping it, but I also feel like I crop everything, so let me know what you guys think. This is your sign to start sewing so you can upcycle your thrifted clothes. Here's how the green top looks on. Definitely gonna take the sides in, and then I think once I do that, I'm gonna have to relocate this back strap here more towards the center. For now, I need to measure how much I need to take off on the sides. While I was wearing the top, I pinched the sides to determine how much to take in, and I ended up taking in 3 inches on each side. Okay, so I went back in and I took off a little bit more from the side so that it would be tighter. And I did detach these straps. What if I just tied them around the neck and turned it into a halter? So I paired the top with this flowy, ruffly brown maxi skirt. I feel like this is giving vacation vibes, and I was debating on the gold waist chain, but I think it might be a little too much with this, considering there's a lot going on at the neckline.
I got my thrift flip pile out, so you already know, and my victim of the day is gonna be this skirt right here. I just don't know what I'm gonna do with it, not gonna lie. So naturally what I did is I took a Magic Mind shot, and that's the reason for this video today. That is why I have a lot of energy right now, and I'm also very productive. So yeah, this baby is empty. and I'm feeling the effects. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna grab it from the waist right here and then try to cut off this entire side and make the remainder side the top. Hopefully it works out. So I just finished pinning along the sides of how tight I want the skirt to be, and then now I'm just going to sew along the pins with the pretty side of the fabric facing me because I do want to attempt a French seam. So I just finished sewing along the pins, and all I'm going to do now is cut off all this excess fabric. The sides have been cut. I'm just going to flip it inside out, and then I'm going to sew it once again. So I just finished sewing the sides, and now I am officially done. So here are the scraps that I'll be working with, and somehow I'm gonna make this into my top. Here is the fabric for the 2 cups. So this could be the inner lining, and this is gonna be the outer lining, of course. And this is the inner lining, the outer lining, which is this like mesh, and then the outer lining, which is this. I'm just gonna put all these pieces together. I finished sewing the fabrics together, but I also sewed the seams of this fabric of the cups. I even did the bottom part of my top, which the seams are nice and folded. But also with the inner lining, I created like a tunnel on the very top just so I could like weave the string inside to create the halter neck. As you can see, it's like a bit square, so I'm just gonna create like a little triangle shape. And then after that, I'm just gonna attach the bottom to the top. So the top is finally completed. So I connected the 3 pieces of fabric together. I also did the strings and these side strings right here. And I used black scrap fabric that I already had since I already ran out of the skirt fabric. But yeah, so here it is. And this is the 3rd layer cup. All I did is I got the top layer and I stretched it as much as possible to cover the mesh from the sides. And this is as good as it's gonna get, but it does look a lot more cohesive. So now the outfit is finally complete. So this is how the 2-piece came out, and I'm obsessed. It is exactly what I was looking for. One of my favorite 2-pieces ever. And also I added buttons on the very edge of this part, so that when I undo it, it's a loose top. Oh my gosh. It's so gorgeous. Oh my, I'm so excited. I love it.
I'm about to go out, and I was about to do a quick little thrift flip on this skirt, which I do literally all the time, but I never show you guys, so I decided I'm just gonna take you guys along with me. But this is the skirt, and she's cute, but she's no cigar. I don't even know. I feel like my headphones are like a signature point at this point, but like, I mean, she's cute. It's just giving. Let me stop. She's just big as hell. Like, I just don't like the way this looks. But I love this bottom and I like this print. So what we're gonna do is a cute little flippy. But what I'm thinking is taking, I kind of want it to sit like mid calf, you know, because I haven't shaved my legs in like 2 weeks. So I think I'm just gonna cut like a 1/3 of it out. And the time, it's 10:57. 10:57. This is gonna be really quick because I'm really trying not to do much, I think, this time. So I cut the skirt, very cute. Yes, awesome, love that. But I was thinking, this is the excess fabric from the skirt, and I just feel like I have the urge to make a top out of it now. Like maybe cut this in half, tie the back, and have it, ooh. But there's a lot of weirdness going on here, and it's gonna take me too long to figure out. So what I was thinking is I am going to snip this right here and tie it and just make it just a cute little, like a loose number, I think. I just decided I was gonna show you guys. I don't know, I was doing it off camera, but I'm gonna be cutting it like this and tying it relatively tight just because I want that sort of silhouette, I think. And I think I might flip it like around once I actually tie it on. Hold on. Guys, this is so cute. It's 11:36. 11:36. And this is what we got. Look at the fit. We've got the movement, we've got the, oh, so Miami, so Saturday, so brunch, and so quick too. And this is the back. And you can tie it in the front if you want to show a little bit more stomach, tie it to the side.
is in the room. Hope I make it out of here. She saw my eyes, she know I'm home. I see the things that you might feel.
Welcome back to another episode of Thrift Flips. Our brave DIYer is transforming a pair of painfully basic high-waisted sweatpants into trendy, hip-hugging low-rise bottoms. She starts by flipping the pants inside out because, duh. Next, she drops the waistband to her desired level, grabs the crotch professionally, of course, and assesses how much fabric needs to go. Then, armed with a fabric marker and sheer delusion, she starts sketching little triangles like a mathlete at Fashion Week. Pins go in, confidence rises. Geometry has never looked so stylish. At the machine, she lays down a clean, straight stitch on both sides, and she remembers to backstitch, because, unlike most beginners, she knows that stitch isn't staying put without a little reverse action. Time for the moment of truth. She slips the pants back on to inspect. The damage, not bad. No tears, no regrets. Yet, to really seal the deal, she hits it with a zigzag stitch for reinforcement. We don't want a public pants explosion. Finally, she chops off the extra fabric like a pro, and just like that, voila! A pair of custom low-rise sweatpants, hotter than her glue gun on a Sunday.
You know the rules. You have to let me finish before you judge. I thrifted this top and this bikini, and I'm gonna make a really cute top for my trip to Lebanon.
I'm going to start by snipping here and here, making it into more of like a strapless shape. I bet you're wondering where the bikini's coming in. I literally thrifted it just for this ring, so let's cut that out. She's free. And now, are you seeing the vision yet? I'm going to make sure that this fits me how I want it to. I put a shirt on top that I already like the fit of, and then I'm just gonna sew along these lines. You know, I actually haven't sat down to sew something in so long, and this is actually really embarrassing, but the only reason that I am tonight is because it's Wednesday and there's no Love Island episode tonight. So I'm passing the time. And now it fits my waist better. I'm going to hem this and add the ring. I'm gonna put it on the inside. It's gonna sew around this part right here. I might have to hand sew it, we'll see. Wait, cute! I did it with the machine. It looks so good. I'm going to add ties, and I think I want to change the cut of the bottom. I'm gonna make some ties for the neck out of this remaining fabric. This hack I learned on TikTok on how to turn straps inside out. This is a top stick. What did I just rip? I guess we'll never know. Now let's hem it. Guys, are you ready? Dude, I honestly love it so much. I'm kind of obsessed with it. I love that I made it asymmetric because this pattern was just too much. This is your sign to never write off a shirt because it has a crazy pattern. I literally can't wait to wear it in Lebanon. This is your sign to start sewing so you can upcycle your thrifted clothes. This pattern reminds me of like vintage floral wallpaper, and I think it would look so cute in a top like this. And I want this to have a square neckline. And I'm gonna use these little clips here to pinch the sides and decide how much to take off. So I think this will be a good place to start, and I'm gonna use my regular sewing machine to do a straight stitch down each side. And here's how everything is sitting now that we took in the sides and then brought the neckline a little bit higher. So I think my neckline and the armholes are ready for me to do a rolled hem on my serger. And I feel like I've been adding elastic to every project lately, but I just think that if this had elastic under the bust, it would be really cute. Now I can attach the eyelet trim around the neckline. Here's the finished result of our little vintage floral top. This is your sign to start sewing so you can alter your thrifted clothes. And this Ann Taylor top was only $5. Here's that tank top on. It's so cute, but it's just a little bit too wide for me. And it's 100% cotton, and it does have a side zipper. There is zero stretch up here, and the zipper only comes to like here. So this part here still has to be wide enough to get over my shoulders. So I was thinking I could add elastic between the straps right here, and then another band of elastic right here. And now this is how the back looks after we add the elastic, and now we can try her on. That was probably one of the most simple alterations I've ever done. And I also feel like it gave a really cute scrunched detail now. And now we don't have any gaps under the arms. Everything is pretty snug, but still loose enough to be comfortable.
I'm going to show you how I make my outfit for my birthday using this dress that I just thrifted. Okay, it's too big, so the first thing that I'm doing is sewing a straight line down from the armhole down a little bit. I'm not going to make it that much tighter, but that way these just won't be too big. The thread is still there. You can see that I just altered that. And then the next thing I want to change is the neckline. I don't know exactly what I want from this neckline. I think I'm going to start by cutting here into a bit of a square. I'm going to cut a little higher than I think I want it so that I have room to fold it over. I'm just going to see how that looks. Okay, so I cut it into a bit more of a square shape. And then I think I'm just going to grab these, fold it and pinch it right there. And that's kind of the square neckline I want. So I'm just going to put some pins there. Like that. Okay, so I'm just going to fold all of these raw edges over and go use a single stitch along this so that this is the new neckline. Okay, so that's the neckline made square. And then I want to add some kind of corset-ish closure so that I can make it tight. So I've just marked where my waist is with these pins, and I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet. Okay, I've decided I'm going to seam rip a teeny tiny hole, maybe two, right on this side seam on both sides and put the ribbon through that. Okay, I haven't for sure decided on this ribbon, but that's what the closure is looking like right now. And now I need to make this actually cute. I also got this lace trim and then this cream bow, and I think I'm going to go add a lace trim to this and then maybe also the bow. I don't know. I'm going to go ham with these and that should make it cute. Okay, wait, I got distracted because it's long and I knew I wanted to make it less long. But look, if I grab these and put them like that, then it has like a really nice shape. So I think I'm going to go sew these sides like that. I think I like that. Okay, so I literally just went and stuck stitches where I had those pins. It's bad sewing, but it's good art. I really like how that looks. Now I'm thinking add a bow on top of both of those and in the middle. This is cute. I've decided to commit to this shape. I'm going to go make the front short and leave the back long, and then I'm going to add that lace to this part. Okay, I ended up cutting the back a little bit shorter so that it fits better, and then I'm going to take this white lace trim and put it all the way along the bottom. I'm a little worried that might have been a mistake. I don't know if I like how much that changes with how it lays. But maybe it's cute. I could always cut it off if I decide to. Now I'm just going to take these bows that I made out of the ribbon and attach them right here. Okay, I just have these safety pinned until I decide if I want them to be a permanent fixture. I don't know why every time I go to sew I end up making a French milkmaid costume, but I think that this is really cute and I'm excited to wear it on my birthday. I also might add another bow right there, but do let me know if you think I should cut this lace off. Okay, no, with the other bow, it was definitely giving too much costume. I don't mind if it looks a little costumey. It's my birthday and I want it to look fun. So I think that this is pretty good. This is what the back looks like, but I'm going to put a thicker ribbon or make it backless.
So I thrifted this vintage dress because I fell in love with the fabric, but once I put it on, I felt like I had bought a one-way ticket to Frumpy Town, so I thought I might as well give it a new life and upcycle it into something a bit more modern and fun. Welcome to week 5 of my thrift flipping series where I'm doing a thrift flip every week of the summer. And trust me, you'll want to stay till the end to see the final result because it's pretty cute if I do say so myself. The great thing about this dress is that it has these ruffle pieces which all attach to the waistline, giving me ample fabric to work with. I honestly wasn't totally sure what I wanted to do with the dress, so I just kind of started cutting it up and draping the fabric on my mannequin, and I landed on this V-neck shape for the neckline. For the skirt, I used the layer of fabric underneath the ruffles, which I could tell was bias cut because of the way the fabric behaved, which was great for me because I love how bias cut dresses look. So I draped this simple skirt to attach to the cups of the dress, and this will basically serve as my base to which I can add more details later on. Once I had the basic dress draped, I sewed it together, making sure to finish my seams and press them in place. And I also added an invisible side zipper, making sure to be a good sewist and baste it in place before sewing, which I never usually do, but you really should, especially if you're working with bias cut fabric, otherwise you'll get weird stretching and rippling. Once I had sewed the base of the dress, I put it back onto my dress form and used some of the leftover fabric to pin this asymmetrical ruffle to the bottom of the dress. I made sure to mark this diagonal line on my dress and add lots of notches on both the dress and the ruffle so I could pin them together later on. Then I just pinned the ruffle to the dress along that line and sewed them both together. So I had some extra fabric that I cut from the bottom of the skirt, and since the skirt was bias cut, I was able to cut out a bunch of bias strips. I used these strips to finish the outer sides of my cups and the back neckline of the dress. I basically just sewed them along these points, just as you would with normal double-folded bias tape. So at this point, things got a little bit more creative. I thought it would be cool to add a keyhole at the front of the dress, but I knew it could go easily very wrong and get weird and distorted because of the nature of the bias cut fabric. So I ironed on some stabilizer to the wrong side of the dress before cutting this keyhole shape at the center front. Then I finished the keyhole with some of the bias strips that I cut earlier, and it was very technically challenging to sew around this curve, but I actually think it ended up looking pretty good if I do say so myself. Then with some of my excess fabric, I cut out this spiral shape, which resulted in these little flounce pieces that I then pinned to the neckline of the dress for some extra detail and to tie in the bottom ruffle to the top of the dress. Then I took some of my leftover bias strips and pinned it to the neckline to finish the neckline and simultaneously create the straps of the dress.
And I also joined a few of my bias strips together to create these long ties at the center front of the dress. I sewed that to my neckline just as you would with double folded bias tape, making sure to press everything really well too. I ended up having just enough fabric for another ruffle for the bottom of the dress, and I felt like it really needed it to add some more volume, so I just pinned and sewed that in place just above the very bottom ruffle. And with that, the dress was complete. I think this was a really fun thrift flip and a good exercise in utilizing as much of the original dress as possible while also giving it a bit more life. To be honest, I didn't really know where this thrift flip was heading, but all things considered, I think it turned out pretty well, and it's giving 2000s rom-com meets Winx Club meets tropical vacation, and who doesn't want to embody all of those things? Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you in next week's thrift flip.
This is your sign to start sewing so you can upcycle your thrifted clothes. I'm going to start by separating the top portion from the bottom portion, and then I'm going to use the top portion to make my cups. So I'm just going to cut 2 triangles and I'm going to round it at the bottom, and then we can hem along all of our raw edges. And now I'm just going to take a needle with some thread, and I'm going to gather the fabric under each cup by just doing a straight stitch and then pulling the string to cinch the fabric. We're going to attach them with the good sides together. So we're going to do a straight stitch straight across this way. And with our leftover fabric, we're just going to cut a couple rectangles, and these will become our straps for the neck and then the back ties. I think this one turned out very similar to my corduroy halter top that I made. I do feel like I made the cups a little bit bigger on my corduroy one, but I just didn't have as much fabric to work with for this. But I still feel like it turned out really good. So I highly recommend turning any tops you don't like into a halter. This is your sign to start sewing so you can upcycle your thrifted clothes. It's definitely not a flattering fit as is. I bought this for the fabric, and I was thinking of turning this into a tank top and maybe starting with like a strapless and then making a couple sleeves that would look something like this. So now I can just measure how much I need to take it in and then do a straight seam down to make it a more fitted tube top. I'm going to fold the top under twice and then do a zigzag stitch along the top. And now we can start working on our sleeves. I want them to be wider at the top of the shoulder and then taper down when they attach to the top. Now I can mark the placement with a few clips. And I want to add a scrunch to the front of this, so I'm going to fold it like an accordion for a couple inches, and then I'm going to sew that in place. Okay, so now we have the official finished product with the little scrunching here in the front. I think it turned out really cute.
Today I found the cutest jeans at the thrift store. Just kidding. We're gonna cut them into mini shorts. First step is marking where I want to cut it. Anything past this line does not matter to me because this is fugly. This is my all-time favorite pair of shorts, so we're gonna basically recreate this exact fit. For reference, this is how it fits. This is where people make mistakes because they'll line up like the top part, but you want to line up this seam right here to the OG shorts. To be honest, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm basically gonna follow this like curve. And I made a mark right there. But I will cut a little bit below the line just in case I messed up horribly. Okay, so right now they're a little too long, but that's good because we can do whatever we want with them. And right now I want them to be like, I was about to cut them again, but I'm low-key into this whole folded look. Like, I kind of like the way that it looks folded. If I just like stitch right here together, they'll just stay like that. And just so y'all see the vision, I'm gonna wear it with these shoes. My feet are huge in these. This is the vision. And I really like the shorts. Who knew? This is why you have to see the vision when you go thrifting, because shorts came from whatever this was.
Turning a $5 thrifted dress into a $500 thrifted dress. I had a wedding in 2 days, so I just went to the closest thrift store and picked up the only dress there that was in my size. I was like, no one has to know that I hate it if it looks good on me. And boy, it fits me so well. There I am, so shocked. We got to do something about this gaudy beading. Oh my god, this is taking forever, and there's still the whole back. I guess I shouldn't have expected this to be easy. As annoying as this is, at least it's low-key satisfying. It's coming together. The halves don't even compare. So we're gonna have to figure out what to do with the glue in the next step. Small changes can make a huge difference to like an entire piece though. My very last bead, finally. Now onto the pesky gems. I tried heating it up to see if it would loosen the glue, and it actually made it so much harder to remove the glue. Told my boyfriend, and he said that I reactivated the glue by heating it up. So now we're going in with isopropyl. I looked it up and it said alcohol and nail polish remover can remove glue, but I went with alcohol because I didn't want to risk melting the dress because it's made of plastic.
Completely different dress, guys. You see this? I'm actually excited to wear it, and I actually don't think it's ugly anymore.
Just gonna give it a quick hand wash. Couple drops of essential oil to not smell like a thrift store. Are we ready for the big reveal? I'm so floored right now. I went from thinking the dress was so ugly and tacky. Wasn't even confident that I would like it even after I removed all the gems, but I think it's so beautiful now. And I actually went from dreading to wearing it to super excited to wear it. Turned a $5 looking dress into a $500 looking dress. Just removing and taking from it. Isn't it funny how that works? How simple makes something look more expensive.
Thrift Flip with me, part 4. This is why I love the Goodwill. I will never ever go and buy clothes firsthand ever again. I found these brand new size 40 True Religion jeans. The original price was set at $229, but I got them for $8. I first started out by cutting out both of the pockets for the top later that you will see in part 2. Then I got started on the bloomers. I ended up using an old pair of shorts for the pattern. Once I've seam ripped it, I cut out both of the pant legs so I can trace the pattern on top of it. Once both of the pattern pieces were cut out, I sewed along a line so that they could connect. Then I got started on the pleats. The way I had to connect all these pieces of puzzles was freaking insane. But we made it, and I got through it. Last but not least, I put the elastic around the waistband, and we're done. I hope you guys all love this. Come back for part 2 to see what I did with the pockets. Bye!
Let's take a look at my favorite thrift flips from 2024. A collection of thrifted glass bowls became the most beautiful Christmas tree with the help of some E6000 and a level. These mini picture frames became sentimental heirloom ornaments with my grandmother's brooches. And this silver frame became a display piece for my wedding brooch. This $5 magazine rack got a major glow up with some spray paint and rub and buff, and she is just a knockout. That bow gets me every time. This old picture frame became a wreath for my fall front door. This really heavy wrought iron floor lamp became a really cool planter for our patio this summer. I can't wait to make more of these in the spring. I turned these hanging candle holders into solar chandeliers for our backyard. I love the ambiance. And these $5 lamps became elegant pumpkin pedestals for my fall front porch. Follow along for a whole new year of giving old things a new life.
Okay guys, let's turn this skirt into a cute mini dress for the summer.
Okay, so first thing I did was lay the skirt flat and then put a dress that I like the shape of on top. And then I basically just cut around it. I want the dress to be like a bandeau top, so that's why I didn't cut like a straps. But then I just flipped it over inside out and then pinned the sides and then just sewed down wherever I pinned. And then I just tried the dress on to make sure that I liked it. And I just folded over the raw edges so I could pin them down and then sew them. I couldn't get the back, so I just flipped it over and then did it on the floor. But then whenever I sewed it, I used a zigzag stitch so it'd be a little stretchy, and then I just cut off the excess fabric, and then there we go. I'm literally like so obsessed with this dress, you guys. You just don't understand. I love.
No one who talk like that, and if you hang up on a nigga, bitch, I call right back. Roll my windows up, dollar.